Right, welcome guys. I'm not one for, censorship generally speaking. I think governments and things like that should probably stay out of people's business. This is an interesting one. UK counter-terrorism unit, demands Steam withdraw controversial game from sale. Because this has it's a game about the Israel and Palestine conflict from Palestine's perspective, but they did an update that basically reflected aspects of what occurred on the 7th of October, which is in poor taste, obviously. Pretty poor taste. So I don't know what to make of this. I just thought I'd present it to you because it's interesting. It's a form of UK government censorship. Hamas is a proscribed terrorist organisation in the UK, and as such, any support for them, active support for Hamas, is illegal, right? So I guess from the perspective of that, it was breaking the law, I guess. I don't really know. I don't really know what to think of it. I'm blank canvas, so I'm doing the video to sort of get your opinion on it and just present this as a piece of news. But yeah, I saw this yesterday, and I thought I'd do a video on it today. And this is the headline that just caught my attention. UK counter-terrorism unit demands Steam withdraw controversial shooter from sale. Quote, "We've received a request from authorities in the UK to block the game and have applied such country restrictions." And you can see this here. You can see that it's very much, you've got the, the kefir, I think they call it. Although I thought that was like a type of milk. Anyway, so yeah, they've got that headscarf nonsense thing here, and freedom for Palestine, etc. So you can see obviously what it is. It's pretty brazen with it. So yeah, an interesting video, I thought, for a Monday morning or afternoon, wherever it is, time-wise, wherever you are. Hit subscribe though, guys, if you're new here and you like videos like this, but also hit subscribe if you're a returning non-subscriber, of which there are many of you. Many of you keep coming back to the channel and you're not subscribed, so hit subscribe, that'd be great. But anyway, look, so Valve has removed a game from its British Steam storefront following a request from the UK's counter-terrorism unit. The first-person shooter, Fursan Al-Aqsa, the Knights of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which describe itself as, quote, addressing the Israel-Palestine conflict from a Palestinian perspective. That's a really difficult thing to do unless the perspective is just being bombed to oblivion. That's not a joke, because if you're going to be doing it from a Palestinian perspective, which is anything other than that, then it is from Hamas's perspective, isn't it? So, which is a terrorist organisation. It's a prescribed terrorist organisation. So I can kind of see the issues coming through there. But yeah, so that was removed when Steam contacted developer Nidal to inform him that it had, quote, received a request from authorities in the UK to block the game and have applied such country restrictions. So here's the thing which I read and I was like, you know what? This is really poor taste. And it is really poor taste. If you don't think this is poor taste, boo on your moral compass. Originally released in 2022, the game was updated this month to include content reflecting aspects of Hamas's 7th of October attack. Right. So again, you can do all of that. You can update a game. You can show the Israel-Palestine issue from a Palestinian perspective, I guess. Did you have to include aspects from the attack, which was brutal, disgusting and gross, and, innocent festival goers? And really? Like, I'm not on anyone's side, FYI, but that's in poor taste. And equally so, it would be in poor taste if you did a game from the Palestinians' perspective where they were just being blown to oblivion. Like, that is obviously in poor taste, right? But if you're going to do a game from the Palestinian perspective and they're fighters, that is Hamas's perspective, and thus you're playing as Hamas, a terrorist organisation, which not a lot of people sort of grasp, I guess. But that would be like having a game for the World Trade Center buildings, right? Playing a game from the perspective of the guys that ran the plane into it, right? Like, that's obviously in pretty poor taste. Pretty poor taste. This is the same kind of... I mean, it is the same thing. You're playing as terrorists. So anyway, a trailer for the update shows fighters that appear to be from Hamas. They have to be if you're showing it from that perspective. And they're fighting. There's nothing else in that. They are Hamas fighters. Landing in an Israeli base and graphically executing Israeli soldiers. Now, obviously, that's a reflection. If they are landing in, and they're, coming in on those hang gliders, well, then that is what happened on the 7th of October. That is that attack. You've just swapped out a festival for an Israeli base, and festival goers for Israeli soldiers, right? So it is still the same thing. Like you're just flipping some of the aspects, the elements of what occurred on that day. I mean, it's just disgusting. Like the whole thing's pretty gross, to be fair. So in an email to the Brazilian developer, Steam allegedly said, "We've received why is there a Brazilian doing this? God, fucking weird. We've received a request from authorities in the UK to block the game and have applied such country restrictions." When the developer reportedly asked if there was, quote, a specific reason for the UK ban and said, quote, "My game is not too much different than any other shooter on Steam, like Call of Duty," he was told, "We were contacted by the Counter-Terrorism Command of the UK, specifically the Counter-Terrorism Internet Referral Unit. As with any authority for a region, that oversees and governs what content can be made available, we have to comply with their request." In an email to 404, a counter-terrorism spokesperson said, quote, "The CTIRU works closely with a range of technology, social media and online service providers, but we do not comment on specific content or any communication we may have with specific platforms or providers. The region lock of my game in the UK was clearly due to political reasons." I mean, you're glorifying terrorism, but alright. "I do not blame Valve nor Steam. The blame is on the UK government and authorities that are pissed off by a video game. On their flawed logic, the most recent Call of Duty Black Ops 6 should be banned as well, as you play as an American soldier and go to Iraq to kill Iraqi people. What I can say is that we see clearly the double standards." I mean, is that really the same? Is it really the same? I mean, again, it would be the same if Black Ops Call of Duty had an element from the World Trade Center attack in it, I guess. It's not really the same, right? Like, it's not. I mean, it just isn't the same. Like, it's not comparable. Yeah, you're going to Iraq to kill Iraqi people, but you're going to Iraq to kill terrorists, right? Like, that's what you're going to do. So, I mean, the Western world is... They work on a sort of a pretty broad stroke good versus evil. There's obviously lots of grey areas, but these games don't obviously pursue that, right? And so the Western world's going to be like, well, we're the good guys, they're the bad guys, they're terrorists, we're going to go in and kill them, right? It makes sense from that world view of good versus evil. Now, I'm not saying that... I literally said that there's grey areas, and I don't support either side in this Israeli-Palestine thing. Like, but if you're playing as terrorists... it's not really the same as playing as American soldiers. Like, it's just not. To argue that's just... I mean, it's just dumb. So the game describes itself, quote, "the Palestinian Max Payne on steroids. The most based game of all times." I mean, can you really be... I mean, that's how you describe your own game, and you're surprised that it's being banned. It's not really based... I don't know. I don't know. I still don't know what to think of it. But I mean, if you're describing it as that, and it's not really the Max Payne on steroids, is it? Like, you're just running around as Palestinians, terrorists, I guess. I don't know. I still don't know what to think of it. So the game is still available to buy online outside of the UK, including the US. In the UK, however, the Steam page just goes, yeah, this item's currently unavailable. So there you go. I mean, a bit of a tricky one to deal with on a Monday morning, but I thought it was interesting nonetheless. Where do you sit on this? I'm not one for censorship. But I guess that an argument can be made that, I mean, if you're glorifying terrorism... and again, just think to yourself, right? No matter where you sit on this particular conflict, imagine if there was a game, and there may even be one, I don't know, I don't really play a lot of games, but imagine if there was a game where you play as the terrorist that, you know, boarded that plane and flew it into the World Trade Centers. Would you be as happy? Yes or no? Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. I'd love to hear it. Like I said, hit subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye now.